The biggest gain for me in using Google Drive was really that I could access my documents and my files no matter what device I was on. It didn't matter if it was my phone or my tablet or my laptop or maybe even a desktop or laptop that was not my own. Maybe it was public or was at a school or something like that. And so I want to show you what can happen whenever you're using Google Drive. I'm signed into my Google account right up here, and if you're not signed in, you'll see where right in here in this area it says sign in, and I am going to go to my waffle. That's what Google calls that right there, and I'm going to click on Drive. Now there's another way that you can get to your Drive. You can just go up here and type drive.google.com. And here's what my drive looks like. Okay, so you can tell here it's got a lot of folders, and then I do have some things down here that are not in folders. Most of these are things that either are going with third-party sites that I'm using, or they are copies of things that I've seen people use that I wanted to start making sure that I had access to. Okay, so this is really the way that I would suggest that you organize your drive, with folders. And you can see in here, if I go into this one, I have subfolders in these as well, and I'll show you this one here. This makes a very good case. You can see I've got more subfolders. So this is something that has really helped me stay organized. Now let me show you what will happen if you don't. I'm going to go into my other account, and you can see here that I've got a different profile picture, so that is a different account. I'm going to go to drive.google.com. And here's what happens whenever you don't use folders. I do have some. You can see there's some, but look at all of this mess that I've got in here, and it just keeps going and going and going. I have used this particular account since I think 2008. So there is a lot of stuff in here, and if I didn't have the search feature, I would probably never be able to find it. So here's what I'm going to suggest that you do. I'm going to go back into my other account, and I'm going to go over here to the side where it says My Drive. If you've never used Google Drive before, you're not going to have anything on the screen at all. It might say get started or drop files here or something like that. But here's the way that you're going to create any kind of a folder system, and that's going to be our first step. You're going to click on New, and you're going to choose Folder. Now, name this folder whatever it is that you need to. You can tell here in the background that I've got my different courses with their own folder, and then I've got different schools with their own folder, and it really just kind of mimics what my documents looked like on my computer before I started using online doc storage. So the name of this folder, I'm going to make it be Beginning of Year Items. Okay, I'm going to hit Create. So now you see here it just was created in my drive, and it is in alphabetical order. That's because I have it sorted so it's in alphabetical order. I could change that if I like to, but I really like to keep my things in alphabetical order. So now if I wanted to add something into my beginning of the year items, I would double click on that, and here's what it looks like. It says drop files here, or use the red new button. So I'm going to click here on New. Now the beginning of the year in my class, I always gave my students an interest survey, and I had forms for my parents. So I'm going to click New, again Folder, and I'm going to call this Parent Surveys, and then Create. I want to And you just saw there I clicked off of this because I want everything to be stored in the beginning of the year items. And then I'm going to click New, and this folder is going to be Student Surveys, and then Create. Okay, so now I've got my basic folder system set up. Whenever I'm ready to add my parent information and my student information, I will just double click on those. Easy, just to click on it like that to access. And I want you to notice right up here at the top where I'm kind of circling with my mouse, this is what's called the crumb trail. I can easily get back to things by clicking on, if I click here on beginning of year items, now I've got that first folder structure. If I click on my drive, now I see all of them. I can also go over here and click on this caret to drop down, and I will see all of my different folders that I have, and then I can also see the subfolders that I have within those. Okay, so that's your basic navigation. Now you probably notice here that this one is a different color, and what happens is this particular folder is one that I access daily, and even though I have things in alphabetical order and I can usually remember, you know, it's right here at this spot on my screen, if I'm going to other computers and using different screen sizes, this folder is in a different spot. So I wanted it to stand out to me, so what I did was created it so that it was green. And I did the same thing if I were to go in here, and you can see that I've got a couple of others that are different colored because I once again wanted those to stand out to me. So I'm going to go back to my home drive, and I'm going to go into that beginning of year items that I just did. Actually, I don't even need to go into it. I'm just going to right click, or if I am using a Mac, I'm going to hit Control click and go down here to where it says change color, and I can make this whatever color I want. Let's say that I want it to be the color of my school's colors because it's beginning of the year items. So now my folder is purple. You can see it's right over there, and if I click off of that, you can see that as well. So that is a way that I can stay organized, and this is really just getting familiar with what kind of organizational structure you need. Everybody's is going to be different. You may prefer to keep your options as last modified, like this. So now you can see it's going to have the folders that I've made last at the very front. Or I might want it to be the ones that are last opened by me. This is going to keep those ones that I use regularly up in front so that I can access them very, very quickly. I'm going to go back because I want mine sorted by alphabetical. And then right here I can also change the view. So now it's a list instead of in boxes. Remember, like I said, these are personal preferences. You need to do what makes sense to you and what you like. But play around with those and get comfortable with it. See what mimics structures you've either had in the past, or think about things that you've done in the past that did not work for you, that you want to make sure are easier and more user-friendly than they were before.